Hey, we're live. It's Monday night, just shortly after 7 p.m. Central. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. We're going to talk about the last weekend's SeaArk Owners Invitational down in Decatur, Alabama. We're going to bring on our third place team, Kevin, Tyra, and Craig. Also got Seth on the show tonight. Going to be a big show. Like I said, we're going to talk about some of the future events we got coming up. Again, this past weekend, and kind of just hopefully answer some questions if there's some people that want to jump on and chat, ask these anglers any questions from this past weekend, maybe where they were, how deep, how shallow, how big a bait, all that fun stuff. And then if you have any questions about any future events, actually there is going to be one that we're going to be adding. I'm going to write that down on my notes. That nobody knows about yet. So hopefully everybody had a great weekend, whether you were fishing the SeaArk Owners Invitational in Decatur, Alabama, or any other event, or just out fun fishing. So got a few people finally jumping on. Okay. If everything sounds good and you're on, give us a hey or a thumbs up in the chat. Like I said, I can see all the chat right here. And let's get this party started. I'm going to play a video from one of our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, SeaArk Boats, and then we'll bring everybody in.
The Dynasty 2.0 was designed for the serious trophy cat angler and is most often used for tournament fishing. A major key to having a true catfishing boat is its ability to keep the large fish alive so that they can be released back into the water just as healthy as when they were caught. The 2.0's unique design includes a 115-gallon live well that is equipped with an 800 and 1,600-gallon-per-hour fresh water pump. This keeps the contaminated water filtered out and the fresh water coming in. The enormous live well gives plenty of room so that the fish don't get beat around on long boat rides. The Euro-style transom allows for easy access in and out of the boat and is tall enough to deflect large waves that can sometimes arise without much notice. This transom is constructed from 3/16-inch aluminum for added strength. The easy-access 3-door battery compartment has plenty of room for batteries, battery chargers, power pole pumps, and additional storage. Rod storage is not a problem. The center rod box is 8 feet long and can hold over 15 rods and reels. The self-bailing bow deck sheds water out of the boat instead of back in the boat when throwing a casting net. The casting area is constructed from tread plate to help eliminate slippage. The bow is also taller than the previous model to combat rough water rides. All of this in combination with the proven 15-degree V-hull, an added reverse chine for more lift, heavy-duty 125-gauge construction, Seatco air ride captain and passenger seats, and a durable walk-through windshield makes this boat the most popular in catfishing.
All righty. Let's bring our guest in. Seth, Kevin, Tyra, and Craig. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good evening.
Good.
Doing great.
So we've got Illinois up here, Iowa, Kevin's in Alabama.
Don't point at me and say Illinois ever again.
Tyra and Craig are in Ohio. So what's the weather like right now in Ohio?
Rainy. It was sleeting when I just came home from the store 15 minutes ago. It's terrible.
That sounds terrible. What about you, Kevin?
It's pretty nice today. It was a little bit windy, but other than that, it was pretty nice.
Looks like we're about to get a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. So Seth is in Iowa, just across the river from me, only about 20 minutes away. But yeah, so let's talk about the SeaArk Owners Invitational. We'll ask you a few questions. I'll go over little stats. I love stats, by the way. So we had 184 teams. Great turnout, Decatur. 497 anglers. We weighed a total of 82 boats for 4,964 pounds. So just shy of 5,000 pounds. I also printed off the top 20. And I was just kind of curious. Me and Kevin were talking earlier. He made a post about the best anglers in the country. And not that this proves it by any means. This is just one event. But I thought it was kind of interesting, kind of where the top 20 come from. So I'll kind of read it from 1 down to 20, but you're going to see a lot of the same. Tyra and Craig will get mad.
You couldn't do top 35. Are you serious?
Well, you would have just helped that stat. But so our first and second teams were from Missouri. Then third place right here in Ohio/Alabama. Fourth place, Arkansas. Fifth place, Kansas. Sixth place, Tennessee. Then seventh and eighth, Missouri. Ninth, Illinois. 10th, 11th, Iowa. 12th, Tennessee. 13th, Illinois. 14th, Kansas. 15th and 16th, Alabama. 17th, Texas. 18th, South Carolina. And then Missouri. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Missouri, 2 Iowa, 2 Illinois. So and then Kansas had one.
Only one from Alabama. That's interesting.
3 Alabama. So 15th Bradley Vale, Robert Gilchrist, and then Craig was on or Craig and Kevin's in Tyra's team, kind of an Alabama/Ohio. But Kevin just moved there recently. So if you look at like the map, almost besides 18th place, which was South Carolina, and other than that, almost everybody was west. So kind of interesting. A lot of Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, Iowa. What's your take on that, Kevin, since you kind of got that? Kind of stirred the bees and that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of teams from the Midwest, but I started out on the Ohio River, so I know how it is. It's tough, and then you come down here, and it's a different world than the Ohio River, the Missouri River, places like that. So.
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. There was teams from all over the country, so it was great to see everyone. It was my first time in 9 years on the other side. I didn't get to go compete, so. But you have those good years and bad years. I think second to my last time fishing it, I got third. And then last year, I think I got 193rd. That happens, though. You know what I mean? That's fishing. But no, it was cool seeing a lot of people, that you don't get to see. The Owners Invitational is so cool because it's such a big event, and it brings a lot of us that know each other from social media, whether we've never met in person before or we'd only get to see each other once a year. You can do it there. You have the dinner and the captain's meeting, and then you just have that. Most people spend almost a week down there. So it's fun. Unfortunately, I didn't get there till late Wednesday night. I've been fighting a sickness. I think I've had strep throat and all that. So I didn't get to hang out with everyone like I wanted to, but it was still fun seeing everybody and watching the weigh-in and kind of doing all that stuff. So I guess let's talk about, and Seth also fished the tournament too. So Seth was with Colton and Cody. So let's talk. So third place, which is stellar out of 184 teams. Obviously you guys have fished out down there in Alabama a lot, but things changed. The weather was changing. The wind direction was changing. It's like they kind of shut the current down. How long were you fishing, and what kind of changes did you see throughout the week?
Well, I was fishing while they were sleeping.
Oh yeah,
they didn't do much, so I did most of the work, and that's okay. I'm used to doing that. Craig made our sandwiches, and Kevin made drinks, and we had a great time.
We did have good sandwiches.
We'll let Kevin tell the truth.
No.
All right, Kevin, tell.
So I think pre-fishing, they pretty much just fished Gunnersville. I don't think they pre-fished Wheeler at all.
No. Nope.
And then I didn't fish at all the week before. I just caught bait. So we talked about pre-fishing, but I pretty much, me and Craig agreed that my theory on pre-fishing anymore is you're gonna catch one of the fish you want to catch during the tournament, or you're gonna catch fish somewhere that you never fish, and the whole time, if you go an hour without catching a fish, you're gonna be thinking, I need to go over there where I caught that big one the other day. So I really don't like to pre-fish that much anymore. It just gets me, if I feel like it just kind of gets me messed up on what I need to be doing, you know?
Yeah, that's true. What, and because you guys were in Gunnersville, did you guys just want to go hang out? I know you guys kind of hang out with Josh and JR and all them, and they live up in Gunnersville, which is pretty far from Decatur. You just wanted to kind of fun fish, didn't really, or is that, what was your thoughts there?
We went in the river section one day, and I didn't really feel that I needed to go there anymore.
Yeah. That bad?
Well, it was rough for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, we fished Gunnersville for, we showed up on Saturday and then we went to Decatur on Thursday. So, and we didn't pre-fish. You know, the tournament date was changed, which was perfectly fine with us. We're all for, you know, the safety of the anglers. So we thought we might have a day to go scan, but that's okay. Again, totally respect everyone's decision on that because, you know, safety is, you know, always the number one priority. That's a hard call. Can't make everybody happy. It's always hard when someone has to make that decision. So we respected that. These guys had a plan. I was just there making sandwiches. And they decided, Kevin and Craig collaborated. We did one drag. Put the trolling motor in as soon as we showed up to our spot. Pulled it out at 2:30.
Wow. What time was the first fish?
What did it take us?
It was a while.
Well, I think Craig caught the first fish fairly quick.
20 minutes in?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It felt like a while, but
20
minutes is a while.
Was that a keep or your first fish?
We ended up calling it out, but it was about a 35-pound fish, first one. But we held on to it most of the day, but we ended up calling it right there at the end.
Yeah.
That's a good one to start off with. So how many fish did you catch all day?
8.
I think was it 8 or 9? I think we caught 8 fish. Yeah.
What about bait? Was that with the tournament being changed to Friday, did you guys have fresh bait or did you need to get fresh bait or?
Yeah, well,
our partner is a good bait catcher.
Yeah. So I pretty much was catching bait all week. Just, I went out and caught bait on Wednesday just in case it got rough on Thursday when everybody got there. And bait was good on Wednesday. And then Thursday with all the boats there, it slowed down quite a bit for me. I know some people still got on it pretty good, but it was a little bit slower, but I still, had us 50 fresh ones ready to go. So we were pretty good on bait. We were using big heads all day. So we were good to go.
So so the heads was the big bite. Is that all you used? Do you think that matters?
I like heads just because they stay on the hook better, And we started out with big baits, and I think we caught our first 4 fish first 3 or 4 fish were overs.
Right.
We're like, man, we got to try to catch some unders. So we did. We went smaller, and then we got 3 unders, and then we went back to big baits again and got enough to go.
Alex, I was cringing because there was like this much of a piece of bait, and I would never do that. I use every little teeny tiny piece. But I liked Kevin's idea and it worked. So we rolled with it.
Nice. What is your PB down there, Kevin? Or what's your PB in general?
102, and it comes from Wheeler.
Wow. What about you, Craig and Tyra?
I'm at 68 on a blue.
You know what? My PB blue was actually at Chick Fight. I won big fish at that tournament. This was a long time ago. I don't even remember what it was.
I think it was 57.
57, he says. Caught one close to it on Gunnersville, but Yeah.
Yeah, that Gunners, I love Gunnersville. I've only been there one time, and of course, I even had a fish pull me in, but there are some big fish up there.
Yeah.
It's funny. Sounds like all of our PBs came out of the Tennessee River chain.
Yeah.
Mine was on Wheeler last year.
We're in Ohio. We have channel cats where we fish, so
Same-
we like
same
those
here.
blues.
But you got awesome channel cats.
We do have awesome channel
Yes,
cats,
we do.
and it's a great time. I highly recommend people come to the bay and fish. And if anybody wants to come that hasn't been before, we have a place for you to stay. So we're a 45-minute ride up to the bay, and it is great fun. I mean, there's days where you'll catch them in the 20s all day long. So for a lot of people, that's big, but that's what we're used to, which we enjoy it.
But you also want to move down to Alabama, right, or Tennessee?
I have full intentions of going to Southern Tennessee or Northern Alabama very soon.
Same here.
You're on board with that? You're on board with that, Craig?
Yeah.
Come on with it.
Well, and Kevin, you just moved down there recently. And funny story, we were Liz and I were asking anglers the morning of the event where they stayed, how many nights, and we met a guy that was from Ohio, and he said that he just moved. I mean, there's probably 3 teams from the tournament that moved that I know of that we asked that moved down there in the last few years. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chris Wallace made his way down there.
Chris Wallace moved down there from Indiana. Cindy White moved down there from Iowa. There was a gentleman from Ohio. So a lot of people that have moved down to that because they said the fishing's awesome. And, you always have, I know the commercial fishermen, can hurt that lake a lot too, but, it's still a good fishery. You know what I mean? And if you hit it right, it can be crazy good.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't know that we hit it just right, with the weather patterns and stuff like that. Kind of cold and rain and warm. I mean, the weather's been pretty crazy. You know what I mean? And I got to go out Saturday on a little boat ride, and I didn't know a lot about the winds up there. I just usually if I'm fishing, I'm going. But now being on the other side of thing and being a tournament director, you really got to watch for that stuff. For other anglers, and especially with this event not being. It's very competitive, but it's also, we have a lot of new anglers, new families, a husband, wife, and their daughter. They come down from, Texas or Virginia, and they've never been there, and they're a first-time owner, and we got to watch out for everyone, But knowing, and I screenshot, I think it was like 1:30. I did a screenshot of the wind. It was like 7 or 8 miles an hour northwest, and it was crazy rough Saturday afternoon. So it's just kind of interesting because I personally, since I live up here, we don't deal with the wind. Just doesn't really affect the Mississippi too much. But so I'm glad that, obviously we put a lot of people together to make that call. It's never a call you want to make, but it's, it had to be made. But anyways, yeah. So like, who knows how the fishing could have been if it was. I know some people were on fish like on Tuesday with the weather patterns maybe being better. What are your thoughts? Do you see a lot of that, especially Kevin, you living down there, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday might be phenomenal, and then a little weather shift or the current shuts down? Does that change a lot of things? Because I know people love current on that lake.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Everything does seem like it. I haven't been here quite a year yet, so I don't got it all figured out yet, but it does seem like everything can change fast. Like one day you can be on them, have the best day of your life, and the next day you don't. It changes quick for sure.
And then I know Tyra and Craig, you guys are up on what is that, Sandusky Bay? That probably gets crazy.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lake Erie changes a lot.
It's very shallow. And when the wind is blowing a certain direction, their businesses flood, even if it's not raining. So we can go out on the boat and come back in, and the boat ramp's flooded. So it's pretty crazy how the wind affects things.
Yeah, we're not dealing with that around here, or we don't get that. But what we are getting is like every few hours, our gauge is changing. So I live in pool 20 on the Mississippi. Seth is in pool 19 right above me. and we're at right at flood stage. I know what is it, Minnesota or somebody up north was getting some big flooding. So I suspect we're going to have some pretty serious water here in the next few days.
They're filling sandbags in Fort Madison right now.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, it's going to be an interesting next few weeks here on the Mississippi River, especially on the upper, between Illinois and Iowa, and even a little bit further south. Wally said Clinton, Iowa is flooded, so I don't know if that's snow melt. You always hear about snow melt. I don't know how true some of that stuff is. Maybe they've got some rain, but
yeah. I'm ready for the high water. I'm literally sitting here crimping, bumping rigs right now. So
Yeah.
We're coming to the Mississippi River in the fall for the first time. So,
well, you're in for a
the
treat.
That's what I hear.
Awesome.
Where are you going?
We are going to go to Mississippi River Monsters. We are invited by our friend and new pro staffer, Joey Boyles. So we're going to go fish with him.
Ooh, I love Joey. Joey's awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we're excited. And we get to fish out of a dynasty. So I'm excited. I tried to talk my husband into a dynasty a few times. He's stuck on a new pro guide, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. We love our pro cat, so
listen,
be hard to let go of that.
I've got an easy cat, and we went out, obviously tournament day, and then we went out on Wilson the next day, and there was a couple 240s and a 200 that I passed in a dynasty that were kind of babying themselves through the waves, you could tell, and we were up on top doing 52 miles an hour and couldn't even feel them. I mean, that 26-foot of boat it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That pro guide would be nice to have a couple more feet, but
pro guide is that's the way to go if you don't pleasure boat too much.
Well, sure. I want a 300. I want to be the first person to the spot. So
yeah. Yep, I got one.
Then you better tell Craig to get to the passenger seat and you drive.
Yeah. Then we'd all die probably.
It'd all change.
Yeah.
We took
I
off.
like to drive fast to take chances. So
we took off from the first flight I've got a 300 on mine, and nobody caught us, and we didn't pass it, or we were catching up to first in line. We were in the first flight, so there's only 3 boats ahead of us, and nobody walked away from us. So it did pretty good.
Yeah,
I think everybody lies about their speed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we switched props a year or so ago when we picked up 2 or 3 miles an hour, so that made a difference.
Everybody says 55, 56, 57. I was doing 51 to 52, along with some of the guys I've heard say that, and catching up to them. So
yeah, I think we're between 48 and 50.
Yeah.
The prop's a big deal. I mean, you got to, once you get your boat kind of lined out, your boat's always going to go fast out of the factory when you don't have a trolling motor, batteries, or all your weights.
Right.
I got probably 3,000 pounds in mine now.
Yeah, we switched over to the Ionics, and that probably changed things a little bit too.
It seems like
every little thing changes or helps.
Lithium, and the bass boat guys are starting to talk about this, but lithiums might even make you slower.
Right. I've heard of people talking about filling up their live wells.
Yeah.
When they run these kind of batteries. So.
I know somebody that does that.
Yeah, would that be you?
No.
Oh. We've never tried it.
Somebody else in the chat does that.
Oh, okay. Alex. Maybe. But yeah, I think we'll have to try that when we get up to the bay here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to come to the Mississippi finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Fall in love with it. You're going to be moving to Alabama and then over to the Mississippi.
Well, that's what I was afraid of. And then I want to go to the James. Also, we're going to Santee Cooper with our dear friend, Steve Holman. He helps us with our dragging weights. So we booked a vacation end of September, beginning of October to go to Santee for a week. So I may just become a nomad. I don't know.
You won't pick Memphis over Decatur. I promise you that.
Yeah.
The fishing might be just as good, but the city where you have to live, I wouldn't pick Memphis over Decatur.
We'll see.
That's true. Decatur is a lot bigger than I had, previously thought. And, we spent going to a couple restaurants. They have a really, really nice downtown. Really nice downtown. If you've not been
Gunnersville
there.
too. I love their downtown. Beautiful.
Yeah, I've not been to Gunnersville downtown. I just when I went with Steve Douglas that time, we went. I think put in Stevenson. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
It was a quick trip. We went early in the morning, and then
Well, Kevin lives in a cute little area too, so
Memphis
I like
is
it all.
pretty rough town to get around in. For me,
Well, I'm pretty rough, so I got this. I'll pack my heat on both hips.
Good. You're gonna need it. But
So Kevin, tell me, you moved down there, and what do you do down there now in Alabama? And why did you move? I guess is it fishing or
Yeah, and that and other things, but we just got tired of where we were at, and we come down here on vacation, and my wife and kids were like, "Let's move down here," and I was like, "Okay, let's go." Told me the house went up for sale, and we were out of there.
you're gonna tell me twice, right?
Right? Yeah. So my wife works from home, so she can kind of do live anywhere with what she does. I'm a painter, so I have a painting company, so we can kind of go wherever. So when we came down here and looked at the schools, and of course the fishing, is the best. So whenever they were up for it, I said, let's go.
Hurry up before they back out.
Right, exactly.
My wife's pretty much got a bag packed at all times for the day I say let's go to Alabama.
Right.
She wants to move south. She wants to move south pretty bad, but we're just not ready yet. I'm hoping we don't wait too long and the kids, make their friends and don't want to leave or whatever, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
That's kind of where we were at too. My daughter was in 5th grade last year when we decided to move, and it was kind of like we either got to do it now or, it's getting to that point where we either got to do it or stay. So
right.
When our house
pretty
sold,
likable. She would make friends easy.
Yeah.
Alex, we tried trading Peyton for Kevin, and Peyton had school Friday, so
she knows where to go.
She catches fish bigger than her. So
yeah, I've seen some pictures.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
Tyra, I love that hat.
Thank you. Just got it. Thought you might like that. I like it too.
Yeah.
I like the red, white, and blue.
So show us your rig, show us the rods, what were you using and all that stuff. Show us tell us about your weights and all that
All right. Well, Craig and I use several different rods. In fact, we got one from you that we're going to try up at the bay. What we used tournament day are Shattered Cat. And the reason that we like those is because they don't load up when you're dragging. They take it from here. They don't do all this crap.
Yeah.
So
Like the way they pull boards.
So you guys are pulling boards then, and
yeah.
Do you think that the boards is a big help? When you're trying to pinpoint them, or kind of explain you three, dragging boards and why you drag boards.
Cover some area.
Yeah. That's
Fish were scattered, so you might as well cover some area and drag.
Yeah.
Does it help you pinpoint where if you're, let's say you're dragging a ledge and you're catching them on the boards on the, one side or the other, maybe you start to notice that they're maybe in the more shallow water or in the deep, or does that kind of help you target them more?
it didn't seem like that. It was about half and half. And we got over a little bit too far. And Kevin's like, hey, you're in 11 feet. And boom, there's a fish on. And Craig's like, what's wrong with 11 feet? We were dragging a lot deeper than that. So
we picked up that third under in 11 feet. We need
Right.
Yep. As soon as Kevin called out and said, hey, we're too shallow, that happened. So I guess it's a good thing.
So what was your target? Like, did you have, when you said you went to your first spot, you're like, this is where we're going to start. We're going to put the trolling motor down and go all the way until 230. Are you trying to follow like a ledge? Or are you trying to follow like a channel? Or is there structure along your drift or?
Well, I think a little bit of all of that. Well, we started like 35 foot of water, but we kind of was riding the ledge, so we'd jump up into 20 foot and back into 30, and we even got up into 10, 15 foot a few times. So we was kind of riding that ledge where you'd be in 35 or you'd be in 20, like even got up real shallow a few times. And there wasn't a bunch of structure where we was at, but every once in a while you'd see a tree and it just had fish all over it, you know. Whenever that last big fish that we caught, we were dragging along and we seen one big tree just sticking up with fish all over it. And I told Craig, I said, we're either about to catch a snag or we're about to catch a fish. And his straight dragger behind the boat got snagged in it. And so he breaks his line, reels it in, and he turns around and goes, oh no, my planer board's in it too. And he reaches over and grabs his planer board and pulls on it a couple times and goes, oh wait, this is a fish. So we caught a snag and a fish on that tree. And
I do think we lost one dirty South Dragon weight.
Yeah. And that ended up being our big fish too, with about 30 minutes left in the tournament. So it was about 50 pounds.
So is that a strategy you guys always use? Once you start dragging, you don't stop? Or if you hadn't been successful, would you have changed your game plan, or how do you do it?
Well, I think we was just picking fish up every so often, so it's enough to keep you there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. When I'm dragging, I usually say if I can catch a fish and I'm not reeling all that stuff in and moving. You know, when you got four or five planer boards out and you got a big spread going, if I can catch an hour, I keep going rather than messing with reeling all that in and starting over, you know.
That and the wind didn't bother. It was worked out good for us for where we were at.
Yeah, the wind was perfect, hitting us right in the nose. So it all just worked out good.
That's why I like dragging it, especially on Wheeler. But I feel like if you're on Wheeler Lake or Guntersville or any of those in the Tennessee River chain, as long as you have bait in the water, at any given time, 100 could hit. So if I was anchored, I'd be every 15 minutes wanting to reel up and move down the ledge a little bit. If I'm dragging, if I'm catching fish or not, I'm going to keep dragging. I'm going to keep on going. So that whole tournament, I don't think we had bait out of the water for more than 20 minutes total all day. That includes all the rebaiting. You know, we only moved twice, and it was like 100 yards.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, we never had our baits out of the water at all besides to put a fresh one on, you know, every once in a while. But, yeah, we put the trolling motor in and started dragging, and I don't know. We may have covered a couple miles, it felt like. We covered some ground. We got them spread. We got the planer board spread out real wide and set it on about 0.7 and just went to town and covered as much ground as we could.
You probably covered about 4 miles then.
Yeah, I mean, we may have. Honestly, I don't know. We covered quite a bit of ground for sure.
Do you like that 0.7 or what's? Give me your kind of theories on your speed.
Yeah, I just seem to catch a lot of fish doing that. Really, we weren't staying right at 0.7, you know, because that wind would start hitting you in the nose and we'd turn around and be going 0.3, you know, and we'd bump it up a little bit. So we were kind of all over the place with it, but yeah, I like 0.7, but it did seem like we caught quite a bit of 0.4, 0.5 too when we'd get.
That last one we was really moving.
Yeah.
Because I jacked the speed up so I could break my line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So do you think that board was going, or like, so you got hung up in a tree on your long line? Yeah. Maybe that board just took it right around the structure, and then a fish maybe came out and got it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
We love dragging. We use these the spreadums. These things are awesome.
Yeah.
And how many do you put out when you're dragging? Do you just try to go as wide as you can? Is it the wind so were you guys going against the wind or current? So that'll help. No drift socks then?
Nope.
Perfect. But the wind wasn't too much where you had to have your trolling motor like on 7 or 8.
No.
What do you think it was?
At the end of the day, my batteries are still at 82%.
So you're probably just barely using your trolling motor since there's not a lot of wind. You have to have no socks out.
I mean, we was pulling into the wind, but it wasn't
Wasn't too bad.
horrible. Yeah, it wasn't horrible wind.
Yeah, we's probably running on what, 4 most of the day, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
So with our shattered cat rigs, we use the medium heavy, and we were using the Demon Dragons, these amazing, the Brutes, and big baits. So we love the Brutes.
That is big baits, yeah.
Yeah, these are pretty awesome. So we've enjoyed using those, and our we pulled 4s, Dirty South Dragon weight, 4 ounce. 3s and 4s, Craig said. So
3 and 4 ounce weights, Dirty South Dragon weights, and you had big, obviously giant. Now, when you say you cut the head, you're using heads in like half a body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically.
So do you have a rig there to kind of show me, like, where your hook, your Demon Dragon? Do you have like an extra?
Well, I broke my double hook rig on Saturday out fun fish.
Yeah, I think Craig caught most of his fish on a double hook rig. Like
I hate double hook rigs. Oh, I just put that right in my ceiling fan.
I hate double hook rigs too, honestly.
It does tag more for sure, but man, Craig was fire on that double hook rig.
Yeah, I was. Sure. I feel like with these shattered cats that we get less hangups. Oh, if it's for me, I'm not here.
It's not. It's my brother. I was gonna say telemarketer.
But yeah, we love these rods. They're just stiff enough so those boards don't load up, and yeah, we like our little system that we have. So show me that Demon Dragon, because this is always a talk. Do you run your line through? It looks like you guys are crimping. It's crimp.
So you don't run your line through, you just crimp.
Yep.
So let me ask you, is there a reason that you crimp them and not run your line through?
So
they don't break? Is there a certain length that you like to put your Demon Dragon from your hook?
Various.
And then what about how long? Did you guys have long, like different size leader lengths, leader line lengths?
We have long
to kind of. So really, like, give me an idea. Like, I've seen some people have 6-foot leaders.
Well, not really.
Well, this one is probably 3 feet
in front of the Demon Dragon.
Which they do it a little bit different than I do. So it was kind of funny. Their side of the boat was set up a little different than my side of the boat was, but we were fish on both sides, so it didn't seem to matter much. But yeah, like they crimp theirs on, and I'll run mine through the loops, so that I can adjust it if I want to. But it didn't seem to matter. They was biting on everything.
That's interesting. We caught 9 fish the whole day, but I have big 3-inch peg floats on mine and rattles on a couple. My tournament partner had 1.5 inch little tiny peg floats and rattles on his, and every fish we caught was on one of his rigs. So at about 10 a.m. we switched all of the rigs out to his, and then I started catching them on my rods too. Pretty strange.
How long was your leader line? Your leader?
I don't know, maybe 3 foot, 2.5 feet, something like that.
Yeah, I like a real long leader. I'll use 4 or 5 foot leaders sometimes. I like a long leader
to try to get it up in the water column a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like I get snagged less. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Do you always use float?
Yeah, if I'm dragging, I always use floats. Yeah.
And then what about a ball chain swivel to stop? I mean, to help prevent it to snap, or if it ever spins and kind of makes a knot.
I don't. I just use a 3-way swivel and about a 4 to 5 foot leader with either a Demon Dragon or 3-inch paper. But yeah, I don't use the ball check swivel at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jason said they were buried in the mud on Saturday. It makes sense why smaller floats were more productive. So, yeah, that
Well, that was
everybody
Friday.
uses a lot of different techniques.
Yeah, it was Friday that happened, but yeah.
We went out Saturday. We caught one fish at noon. The wind got crazy and pretty much blew us off the water.
We fished Saturday on Wilson, and I dropped my phone in the water, but we caught 5 or 6 fish in the morning, and then we went out in the evening and bumped up at the dam and caught another 3. Big fish was like 34 pounds, something like that. Nothing big. But it was
I
fun.
hate that about your phone. I'm sorry. I donated one to the Sandusky Baby for.
Yeah. I've never. I was talking to my buddies about it. I've had a cell phone for probably 16 years now or so. I've never cracked a screen, never got one wet, nothing. And then we're down there fishing. I thought I had 100 on. Sucker dumped the planer board like I've never seen in my life. And I jumped up on the back deck and reeled down on him. I was like, this is a monster. And my partner was like, you just dropped your phone in the water. I was like, no, I didn't. And we argued about it for about 30 seconds, and I couldn't find it. I did. I didn't even see it, but it ended up only being like a 30-pound fish. He just had a lot of spunk to him.
Oh, wow. Mine, I lost mine because a catfish tail knocked it in off the cooler.
Oh, yeah. Mine was in my
hockey
chest.
puck.
Mine was in my chest pocket because I'm an idiot, apparently.
Have to get a lanyard.
Yeah.
Them mean 30-pounders will hit it hard, won't they?
Dude, I've never felt a 30 that felt like that before. I tell you that.
These channel cats up here fight like 100-pound blues.
Yeah. That was another thing I noticed. So, like I said, we caught 9 fish during the tournament. The first 2 were both of our overs, and we both thought that they were gigantic unders. One of them was 35 inches, one of them was 36 inches, and one of them almost weighed 30 pounds. The other one was like 27. It looked like they swallowed freaking basketballs. It's full of mussels. They puked up a bunch of mussels, but I mean, they were unbelievably fat fish. I thought we had giant unders, but we never caught
I always ask mine not to puke until after weigh-in.
Yeah, we made the request, but they didn't listen.
Yeah.
They don't always listen. But.
Right.
There are some giants down here too, like crazy. Like I've seen several over 30 pounds that were. There's some big unders down here.
You got those stumpy fish down there, which I haven't caught one yet, but I've always wanted to. They look pretty neat.
Yeah, me and my daughter caught one that was 32 pounds and 33 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got heads like 60s and bodies like 15.
That's what I say they got. That's what I would say. They got 50-pound heads.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You don't really see those anywhere else, though.
No, I've caught a few on Wilson and a few on Wheeler, but I've never seen them anywhere else.
Who was it? Was it Wade that caught 2, Alex? Didn't he catch the same one twice or something like that?
Yeah, he was at Lake of the Ozarks, and he caught one that had a broken tail. I think they called it like Captain Dan or something, and caught it the year later or something. It's crazy. So, yeah, there's been. I mean, especially in a tournament like that, you gotta, the unders are a big deal.
Yeah,
you can have 2 big overs, but if you have some small unders, I mean, just like that Truman Lake tournament, first place was over 100 pounds, but he had some decent. He had one that was 50, but he had some decent unders, which that's a 26 to 34 inch slot, so it has to be under 26 at Truman Lake. So it's a lot kind of different than Alabama.
I think that makes it that's part of the fun, but it was tricky.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made any difference. Close. We never found the big fish anyway, so it wouldn't have made any difference. But
yeah, we had one. We had one at 4 pound, just barely touching 34 inches. Like we had to sit and talk about it. Like, man, that's close. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Alex, I had the scissors out and the cotter out.
You can't take
Don't say that.
Yeah, because then you don't have a chance. You get disqualified. You don't have a chance to win the boat.
Yep, it wasn't worth it. He went swimming.
Yeah, Yeah, it was a close one too. It was just touching 34. If you really squeezed the tail and swiped it, it was like, oh man.
Kevin threw it back, and I was instantly sick to my stomach. Like, oh,
Remember that one? And
maybe he'll shrink.
Alex, that was like 35 and a half, and Charlie was trying to squish it together to make it under 34. We would have won the tournament if it would have been under.
Yeah.
We sat there and argued. We argued for like 10, 15 minutes about that. He wouldn't throw it back.
How many teams were disqualified for overs? Over.
2 teams.
2 teams. Well, I think that's pretty good out of as many boats that weighed in. We always see that up at the bay too. And our slot limit's 28.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is making sure you pay attention to the rules, obviously.
Yep.
And having, since Kevin Parks designed that, came out with that ruler, gave all the tournament directors those big rulers. And then he sells them, the same lot those rulers were made in. They're all certified.
Yeah.
Some anglers I've seen, they don't have a ruler at all. And they say, can I use your ruler? I'm going to put you get a marker so I can put a mark on my live well. That's not a great idea. And then I've seen some of them have like the roll up tape. That's not a good idea. I mean, you got to be prepared. And that's especially in an event like that. I mean, because that's a ticket too. I mean, if you've got, too many overs. So yeah. And so, two teams were taken out for that. And
that's too bad.
Thanks. Yeah. You can have, I mean, that's a part of the game is you've got to have the good unders and then the good overs. And, you can have one good over, but if you have some small unders, that can be rough. A couple 6-pounders ain't going to help you too much.
Right. That's like we fish that 2-day tournament in Rising Sun. We've hung out with Kevin down there a couple times, but if you come in with a decent bag the first day, starting out your second day, the one year the guy had a couple 15-pounders or something, which doesn't sound like much, but he wound up winning the tournament. It just takes a couple good ones.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And when you're fishing that tournament, you're doing a lot of calling because you'll catch 30 fish that weigh 8 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So this one's 8.4. This one's 8.6. This one's 8.6. It gets ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets.
We got a balancing bar to make that quicker.
Yeah.
Makes it tough too because the fish are constantly losing weight in your live well. So by the end of the day, you might have called the wrong one.
Right.
You got to play.
Yeah.
That is crazy because it comes down to ounces so close. And I use Phil Brown has his easy clips, and those work good even in some blue cat tournaments where you're catching a lot of like those teenagers. But yeah, every ounce matters in every tournament, and especially this year we've seen a lot of crazy things. Last year we had a big fish tie in a channel cat tournament, it was like 14 point whatever. And this year was crazy, Seth, wasn't it? In Fort Madison, we had some of the closest weights I've ever seen.
Yes, between third and fourth, it was 1/1000th of an ounce, I think is what it ended up.
Oh my!
So like a couple drops of water,
Yeah.
Right. The guy that held it against his shirt wiped off too much water when he held it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that close.
That's why you ask him not to throw up in the live well when you look in and there's whole shad and you're like, oh.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how we lost, which they probably had stuff in their live well too. We lost big fish at Reno Blues that year. There was a whole skipjack in the live well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Please don't puke in the live well. Just wait till after weigh-in, please.
Yeah. Give him some Pepto or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm a nurse. I could probably help with this. So.
Hey, there you go.
At Cat Masters here in Decatur earlier this year, somebody had a whole deer leg puked up in their live well.
I saw that. That was unbelievable.
Wow, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, how about up at the bay where our walleye fishermen made us all look like a bunch of fools shoving weights at walleye.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. That's sad that happened, but at
Yeah.
least they got caught and
They got a slap on the wrist. It's
Thank God that wasn't catfishing. You let the walleye guys keep that.
Right.
you could maybe do that in channel cat, but I mean in blue, you take
It might be
how much
20.
what are you gonna put in you have to put 20 pounds of lead in a catfish to even get close to
Right.
to the next place sometimes.
But they would have won anyway if they didn't do it. That's what's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to send them this sign. My favorite sign. Can you see that?
There's some stories told here.
That's me and Seth always talk about that. If only you could have seen half of the fish that were lost at the boat in a tournament, unbelievable.
I lost the state record at the boat for sure.
I mean, so many anglers have lost the big one.
Yeah. That happened to my boy in Sakoti at Bama Blues too.
Yeah, that happened to us at Bama Blues too. My daughter had and we already had a 56, 33 and a half inch under, and then our other over was like 40 pounds, and my daughter had an absolute giant on. Got like right to the side of the boat, but when she's leave the rod in the rod holder for her, and just let her crank it, and it took one last run right there at the end, back around the back of the boat, and just popped off.
Yeah, that happened.
It was huge. Giant.
Yeah, that's sickening. I know Craig's still crying about the one that got away.
2.
Oh, 2.
2.
Yeah.
Craig.
Yeah.
You got
good.
Broke on one of them, didn't you?
We had 2 80-pound leaders break that day.
Oh man.
One was stretched.
Did you switch to 100-pound?
I don't know what you said because you're coming in and out.
Oh, sorry. I said, did you switch to pound after that?
Did you switch to 100-pound after that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bradley said, "We rarely miss fish. They miss us. I blame them."
We love Brad.
So Chad Hayden says, "Does color of demon dragons matter? Because I believe pink is the best. What do you guys say?"
Of course they matter. Dirty South Blue is where it's at. I don't think it matters personally.
So you just really think that rattle is just one extra line to help catch that fish? Maybe it's more of, if they're not going to bite that bait, maybe that rattle kind of can just, say like a strike bite, maybe.
I've pulled in some and had marks on the demon dragons where they've got those instead of the bait.
Interesting. Yeah, I use demon dragons.
They're great.
Well, Kevin,
I need everything I can get to catch fish. So I'm gonna throw demon dragons on there or whatever else I can find.
Yeah, we try to call them in.
Well, Kevin, you had a boat just tore up.
Yeah,
You were fishing.
My peg floats we got a big bite and it didn't hook up, and then here in a minute we looked back there and my float was broken in 2 pieces floating on top of the water behind the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bradley said we're starting to run 12-aught hooks on our floats.
Oh, he's giving up some secrets there.
Bradley said that.
There'll be a lot of guys that are mad about that comment.
It depends on what brand hook you run too. Some brand hooks say 12-aught, but size is another brand's 8-aught.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real industry standard. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah,
And
you think
Jason
that'd be, but
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff out there. Jason also said water clarity is a game changer if you're looking for a reaction bite. So Gunnersville, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like Gunnersville's more clear than Wheeler, or maybe just maybe that day I was up there. Because I mean, I literally was in the water.
Maybe just that day because there's a lot of grass up there.
Yeah. Well, I was in the middle, and I actually went in the water.
I was gonna say, being from Mississippi River, I would have drank the water out of my live well when we were done for the day. I mean, it's clear.
Oh wow, you're
I would-
brave. Yeah. So Craig just picked this up and it made me think of this. Back to the planter boards. So especially at Gunnersville, when you're collecting grass, I hate these and I love them all at the same time. The clips on here, the lock, see that?
Yeah.
So if you get your grass buildup, just get a hold of the rod and jerk it, it'll come off. But if you use the other planter boards that just, it'll pop them, and then you have to waste your time to reel your line back in. So I love these and I hate these because when you have a fish on, you gotta manually take it off, unhook it. And with the other ones, you don't. If you just give it a good jerk, it'll slide down. But I did enjoy those because of that.
Is that just certain times of year that you get into the grass? Because I want to say that years ago, I remember I fished Wheeler and it was just tons of grass floating down.
Yeah,
I don't know. Ask Brad.
It seems to me like any time after a big rain, something there'd be a lot of grass coming down.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Brad said wrap them in treble hooks. That will fix the issue. Anybody using treble hooks that you know of? Because I have heard some people that were using treble hooks as like a stinger.
I know some guys that use treble hook stingers for sure, and I talked about it, but I've never actually done it. I've talked about it and thought about it, and I've heard some guys that do pretty good use them, but I haven't tried it.
Interesting. I saw a post the other day. A guy posted a picture of a big skipjack with a treble hook stinger in it, and somebody commented, "I think that's illegal to use in tournaments." I wonder how many people are under the impression that you can't use treble hooks in tournaments and don't use them because of that. Because we don't have any rules against that, and I don't think anybody else does.
Yeah, I've never heard any rules like that.
They're pretty hard on fish, but there's no rules.
Right. That would be my thought.
Now, that would be the only thing that scare me, to get a big one that takes it too deep, and man, that treble hook could put a hurt.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even mess with it. Just cut the line and it'll work its way out.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't use them. Just too risky for me.
Right.
They're ripping left.
And
SeaArk does everything I need it to.
I agree with you. And that'll get snagged in a lot of stuff. You got a treble hook. I think we get a lot of snag action going on.
Oh yeah.
More big fish lost.
Potentially.
Or big logs lost.
It would take a heck of a treble hook too I'd be worried that a big fish would straighten them out.
Right.
But
Last time I used a treble hook was with some sunnies.
yeah, about 8 years ago.
I'm using to snag some shad up at the bay.
But you guys got some big shad though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Biggins.
Do you ever bring the shad down to Alabama and try shad? Or anybody ever use shad, or is it mainly just skipjack?
Everybody's that you just use a skipjack. I mean, at home we use shad and shrimp.
There was a big debate in my boat this weekend about that. We should have brought some shad from home. I don't think it'd work as well, but they seem to think it would.
I've tried shad a few times and haven't had any luck on them, but the guys down here say that shad really don't work down here unless it's real cold.
Yeah.
I don't know
Which
if
is interesting because there is shad in Wheeler, surely, isn't there?
Oh yeah,
Right.
there's a lot.
Well, there you go. Brad says we use shad all the time. He might be just trying to throw you off the track, though.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's just messing with us or what.
Well, since he's a bait dealer, we'll have to buy some from him the next time we're there.
Yeah, Brad, can I get some shad and bluegill, please?
That's where I got my bait from this weekend.
Good guy.
Did anybody get checked? We seen the DNR checking a lot of people on the skipjack.
I heard about some stuff, but we didn't get checked.
Yeah, I didn't get checked, but then again, I live on Wilson, so I'm not over there at the boat ramp. I wasn't over there taking out, but I heard that they were checking for sure.
And they should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot on social media about it this weekend, but I think it's a good thing they're checking them.
I agree. Yeah.
A lot of people
like
think you can't overfish them, but I don't see how you couldn't. I mean, people are taking 1,000 of them a day out of there for a living. Like, how could you not hurt the population?
Right. At home now, where our walleye run is going on, as they call it, and the DNR is pretty strict. I mean, we have to change our hook size. No treble hooks. Like, there's all kinds of rules. Even in the bay, if we're not targeting walleye, what is it? Has to be less than a 1/2 inch gap.
Wow.
You know, in the hook. So before we go up to the bay, we're gonna have to switch our stuff over.
Do you guys have to use barbless hooks up there too? No. Must be somewhere else.
Yeah, but they love their precious walleye up at the lake. So
But after the run, there's you know, you can go back to fishing normal.
yeah, whatever that means, normal. Do we do anything normal? No, no reason to.
So do you think that there needs to be more stricter limits on skipjack? Like, Kevin, since you live down there, what are your thoughts?
I think 100 limit is pretty good. You know, 100 possession limit, like I think that's pretty good. You know, if they enforce it, then, you know, because just 2 years ago, so, you know, I think.
But it needed to go to that, though, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, but I think 100's about right.
You know, and they were talking about, I forget where I saw it, probably on Facebook. You know, if you get one full of eggs, throw it back in. That could be thousands, millions of potential bait.
I don't know if anybody else noticed that when they were cutting their skipjack, but seems like right now they're all full of eggs.
So Bradley Lale says, yes, he thinks a 12-inch minimum. Is there not a length now?
There's not, but I could agree with that. 12-inch minimum would be nice. Yeah.
Well, does anyone really use the small one for bait anyway?
Right. I don't, but people do for sure.
2 years ago at the SeaArk tournament, I nicked the tail off of one, threw it in 3 feet of water, and caught the only fish we caught the whole day. It was probably an 8-inch one, and caught a little flathead.
Just
but
enough
qualified
to win a boat.
us for the boat.
Yeah, just enough to win a boat.
Yeah, which I didn't win our first one, but that was great.
I know a lot of anglers like the smaller skipjack.
Really?
Yeah, I do too. I know a lot of guys.
I got 2 guys here. Jason Hamilton, he loves the smaller ones. Justin Arthur.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I likes them smaller ones. He caught his PB on like a 10-inch skipjack, whacked the tail off of it. So he likes them ones.
Alex, you caught your PB on a tail, didn't you?
Not my PB, but I was with Charles, Bird Nest Blair, and Donald Moore.
I'm so sorry.
Tournament down in Helena, and just messing with him. There was a little kind of tail section left, small, barely any meat. And just to joke with him, I hooked it, went out, and 5 minutes later caught like a 58.
Oh, wow.
And of course, that really messed with Charlie's head because he's thinking, oh, we got to use tails now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot messes with his head. God bless him.
It's not hard, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to mess with Charlie in a tournament, Come up with the craziest stuff you can think of at a boat ramp, and he'll go do it that day. I guarantee it.
He's fun.
It's a blast.
Yeah, Bradley said the minimum is next on the regulation list. Should be coming in 24. And like I said, is long because that skipjack in that area really go to a lot of anglers across the country. From even my area up here that we're using that for bait on the Mississippi River. So, that a lot of skipjack come out of Alabama for sure. And I know it used to come out of Kentucky Lake, and then maybe they changed some regulations on how close you get to the dam or something. But yeah.
Well, at Bama Blues, people were begging, borrowing, and stealing for bait. There was none. So it was crazy.
The old cream team. I don't know what that means, Jason. Oh, he said they're softer when using the heads on the smaller ones. But I know, just like in here, 4 or 5 guys just said that they love the smaller skipjack. But that might be an issue because if we change it to 12-inch, that could be tough for the dealers to get bait to sell at the tournaments, right?
Yeah, I don't really want to buy skipjack that's not 12 inches anyways. I see a lot of people saying that, but I feel like whenever I used to fish the Ohio River, I did like the smaller ones, but since I've moved down here, I feel like the bigger ones are better. But everybody likes something different,
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought bait from Brad, and I think the smallest one he gave us was probably, I don't know, 16 inches long. Something like that. I don't measure them, but I would assume in that area.
That's some big bait. Does he charge you like a price for 2?
Probably. We'll pay whatever.
We definitely had some big ones.
Yeah, we did. I was just thinking that when I opened that cooler, I was like, what? Yeah.
We had just cut the head off of them. It's like the size of your hand,
Well, if they're eating deer legs and stuff like that, then I'd say a skipjack's not going to be too big.
Right.
True. Very true.
So I had Robert ask, he said, we were talking about hooks. He said, just curious, how long roughly does it take a hook to work itself out? He lost a fish on Friday that still has a hook in it. So I'm not sure exactly what he's saying, but maybe he was a big fly. Huh?
If you gut hook one and cut the line, how long do you think it takes to rot out of them? But
I don't. We've had some biologists on shows a couple years ago, and that's what they always say to do is cut the line, and it will. Obviously these catfish will eat anything: deer legs, basketballs,
license plate.
They've I think one had a basketball. Maybe Glenn Flowers years ago showed one.
That's where all the basketballs come from on the Ohio River. Every time I'm on the Ohio River, I see basketballs.
Yeah. I heard they'll eat divers too. I don't know.
Oh boy. Ugh. Well,
Catfish.
our friend Tim Stout, I don't know if he's watching, but he's a diver. So Tim, if you're watching, watch out for those catfish.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah, Robert said that was a gut hook. That's what he did. So yeah, that's what we've always kind of been told what to do. We're, as the sport grows, we're learning things like that and burping them. A lot of us have a burp tube in our boat, especially in the warmer months where those fish are deeper and stuff. And I'll tell you what, you better watch where you put that tube, because when they burp, what comes out, you don't want your leg by it, your hand, or nothing.
Yeah. I had to burp one this weekend.
Someone was telling us they didn't have a burp tube, and I wish I could remember who it was. So you know what they used? Dirty South Dragon weight.
There you go.
I was like, well, hey, if it works, that's great.
A new advertisement for it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We have one on our boat. Well, a burp tube, but yeah.
You probably got a Dirty South Dragon weight on your boat too, don't you?
You know what? Seth, to tell you the truth, we don't have any good Dirty South Dragon weights on our boat. When I mess up, they go to our boat. And Brad Lale. Brad takes the seconds, I call them.
Right.
One day I was shrinking and was kind of jacking around, was in a hurry, and melted a whole bunch. So that was kind of.
So he was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, Brad loves the seconds, but oh, gosh, it's frustrating when I do it. So this is one that was on our boat. It's extremely crooked, as you can see. So this would be a second. I don't sell the second. So we go through a QA process, and I pull out the ones that I don't like, which are usually the ones he makes. But I do make mistakes from time to time, but not often. So.
Yeah, they work just the same, I bet.
Yeah, they do. They just don't look pretty, and I want them to look pretty. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Justin said you can use your hand to burp them too.
Okay, Justin, I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I bet you have.
He ain't kidding.
I believe this 100%.
The fish I burped this weekend, I don't know if I could have fit my middle finger in its mouth. It was pretty small.
Yeah.
My partner thought the burp tube was going to kill it, but it did just fine.
Oh, wow. So, real quick, I just want to say, speaking of Justin and Kevin were our very first 2 pro staffers with Adeline Rod Racks. And we've strung these guys on along with us for years. And I was not supposed to fish the tournament. I was supposed to, not with these guys, I was supposed to fish with Joey Boyles, who had to cancel due to some truck issues and couldn't get the part. So Justin had something come up and couldn't make it. So I hopped on with these guys, which I'm glad that I did to get to be in the circle. But we adore these 2 guys. They're great. They make a great team. And we're sorry that Justin couldn't make it.
Yeah, that happens, and especially Joey. I mean, he has had some rough goes. Last year at MRM, he had something happen to the engine, I think, and then actually Steve Henderson and Chris Yanni with SeaArk had to go pull him in. But now the truck issue, that's terrible. So he
did get it resolved. There was no part in like 100-mile radius or whatever, and like I told him, I'm not mad. It's okay. Like I'm glad that's all it was, but just a truck issue. And we'll fish Mississippi River Monsters with them, and we're looking forward to that. So
speaking of issues, you guys hear what happened to Timmy and Tommy Wolf?
No.
They blew a lower unit on Thursday, went to Dry Creek Marine, got a new lower unit, and then the top end blew up on Friday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, what are the chances of that?
That's terrible. That Dry Creek Marine, there's something else. They are some good, solid people there that will do anything to help. Chris is great.
They got to get in. They split up and both got in the boat, so that was good for them that we got them in boats.
And then
Saturday
they got to go out with a guy and caught I think a 62, and then some other good fish.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's a rough go for a couple of days, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's
sure
terrible. Yeah.
Mark said, go ahead.
Speaking of, I just want to say something real quick about Dry Creek. We were down fishing Gunnersville 3 years ago or so. And we were having our steering went out, like totally random. Called, talked to someone at SeaArk. They sent us to Dry Creek. They said, we'll have you in and out like NASCAR style. And they were not kidding. We were back out fishing a couple hours later. So Chris,
awesome.
That's a great guy. And we think about it.
Yeah, I got to meet Chris at the SeaArk dealer show last October. And I like Chris. And thanks, Chris, if you're watching, for everything you did for us this past weekend. And we had a few other dealers there too. And like I said, it's like a big family at the Owners Invitational. And
yep.
It was probably my 3rd tournament that I ever fished. When I got in, I got right in, and I think SeaArk was the 3rd tournament I fished when Seth McAllister's on here. And then we hadn't missed a tournament until this year. So
was Seth and Laura there? I was looking for him. I never did see him.
No, they flew to like Guadalupe or something for the week. So they were on some private island somewhere fishing for mahi or something, I think.
Oh, nice. Honestly, that sounds great, but I would rather be fishing.
Yeah. So back to the heads thing. Mark said that at the SeaArk tournament, we caught all of our fish on heads, couldn't get a bite on body chunks. And like I said, I always kind of use a little bit of both, but again, that's all you guys are using. And some people are like, everybody's different, just like with, Kevin, and then his side of the boat was a little different than your side, and whatever works. But as long as obviously that this is going to work, I believe in it, I trust it, that's a big deal. So that day, believing in that you guys were going to have giant bait, it worked for you, and that's why you got third place. How cool is that?
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I'm so glad I got to make sandwiches for the guys, and it was fun.
They were good.
Kevin, have I ever made you a bad meal?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I keep hearing of these sandwiches. Tell me, I'm starving right now, so tell me what the sandwich.
I think they were
Kevin and Justin fishing. We're fishing. They pull over. I feed them. They go away. Come back a few hours later. Feed them. They go away. We take care of each other.
Okay. Seth, what are you doing back there? He looks busy. Let's see his rig. He's working on something.
I'm messing up bumping rig left and right. I did every one of them perfect until she started talking about messing up her dragon weights. And now every rig I've done so far, I've screwed it up.
You have seconds.
You got in my head. Oh, these
quality
I'm sorry. I get in a lot of people's heads. I don't mean to.
No. We got a tournament here in a couple weeks that you're supposed to go to, but it sounds like you're backing out on me, and we're gonna be bumping. So I'm making about 75 bumping rigs.
Oh wow! Alex is backing out on you.
I don't know. It remains to be seen.
Oh, do you need a partner? Because I got you.
Yeah, come on out. Me and Spencer Bauer are gonna be in Louisiana, Missouri.
Oh man, I'd hate to show you guys how to bump, but I will. I had bumping lessons. I want to speak of this bumping lesson real quick. Was out with a good buddy. I'm gonna just say, because I'm gonna call him out on this. Chris Souders. We were up at the dam a couple years ago. He's gonna teach me how to bump. So I'm bumping. Oh, this is fun. It's a lot of work, but it's super fun, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm hung up. Everybody on the boat ignores me. Jason Hamilton, Craig, Chris Souders, all ignore me. A couple minutes later, I'm like, you guys, I'm hung up.
Couple minutes? You must have been going slow.
Chris is like, well, we were learning. I was learning. Chris is like, what do you mean you're hung up? Then you weren't listening to what I was telling you. I'm like, I was listening to what you were telling me. I told you a couple minutes ago I was hung up. And he's like, you're hung up 100 yards back. So you weren't listening to me. And I'm like, I quit. So that was my only bump. I quit. And I was listening to him. He wasn't listening to me. So
yeah.
I love bumping. We did a lot of bumping on the Ohio River before I moved down here. I love some bumping. And
yeah, I would like to learn from somebody that's not gonna freak me out, practically throw me off the boat.
You wouldn't have wanted to bump where we were at this on Saturday night. We were going 100 yards in about 30 seconds. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I do want to learn. We have bumping rods. We have everything to do it, but we don't have anywhere around here to do it. So
we were down.
I guess when I come to the tournament, you guys are going to show me.
Sounds good. Yeah, we were down below Wilson. Right. Between the power line and the dam, we just kept running it back and forth, and it was fast.
Yeah. It's fast right there, and it's a lot of rock, but I like bumping down on Pickwick. Now, it's a little bit different, though, because you're bumping in like 8 to 12 foot of water.
Oh, wow.
That's how Wilson was. We're in like 12 to 14 foot.
Yeah, so whenever a big one hits, it's not your normal hit like it goes down. It's like a shark.
Yeah.
It hits and runs way out to the side.
Kevin, when you caught that big, really super dark fish on Pickwick, were you bumping?
No, I was actually anchored on that.
Oh, okay.
But that tournament, we did catch a 61 and 50 bumping, and we caught that 61 7 foot of water bumping. So, wild.
Does it practically pull you in?
Yeah. about jerking rod out of your hand?
Yeah, I would imagine I would probably fall in. That would be my luck, but
Yeah, I like to stay down in the floor of the boat. I don't get up on the live well or anything, especially in current like that.
yeah. Sounds like fun. I just need some more
Yeah.
lessons, or I guess I need to listen better or something. I don't know.
It does take a while, like I said, once you learn it though. But that story is funny because I've taught quite a few people, and I always know like when they're hung up, it's so far, or they're bumping, and like I can't feel it anymore, and I know the line is like way back up there. I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna be good.
Well, I like to banter with Chris, and so I'm just harassing him.
I caught Colton Swivel on one pass, and I was bumping. I was like, I can't feel anything, and about that time he reeled my line up out of the water, and I was like, man, I would have looked like a real idiot if I would have kept doing this the whole time, acting like I was still trying to find bottom, and he had my line the whole time.
That's what I thought. I better say something right now before I get in trouble. And
Right?
Yeah.
I've been trying to teach my daughter to bump down there on Pickwick, and it's been
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
She's already got skills.
Yeah. The bumping's rough on her. She does all right for a minute. It never fails. She'll be tagged.
Aww.
Yeah, I take my uncle out a couple times, and there's certain times of year where if you're not bumping, you might as well not be fishing here. And he's bumped for about 30 seconds total, and he said, this is too much work. I don't even want to.
Well, that's what, we have some people ask for like 10-ounce dragon weights, and people are saying if you need that much weight, then you should be bumping.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I'd rather drag than anything, though, to be honest with you. That's why I like Alabama so much. I'd rather drag than do anything else.
Yeah, us too. That's definitely our favorite way to go.
But
yep.
It can be relaxing, and I've also, eventually you'll run into something. I think Ray Ferguson said one time, he said, if you see me dragging, it's because I don't know where the fish are. I guess I just never know where the fish are because I like dragging.
That's what I did when I moved down here. I just got the planer boards out and spread them out real wide and just started dragging. Everybody's like, go look for the fish. I was like, I'll find them. I dragged long enough. I started to get marks in the same areas over and over again. And
Right.
Okay, I'm figuring something out.
Yeah. That's how we did on Friday during the tournament. There's one ledge. You'd have to see it, and I can't tell you what it looks like, or you'll figure it out pretty easy. But you've got a very short amount of time you can drag it. And then we turned around, drug it again, picked up a few fish, and then the rest of the day we just troll motor in the water and kept going.
Yeah.
We were running into them, just not the right ones, like I said.
Yeah.
Guys, he said 3 foot of water or less.
That's the only thing we didn't.
150 pounds on Tuesday in 2 hours in 5 different spots.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good day.
I hear people say stuff like that all the time down here. Talk about catching them real shallow, but I had to get used to just even fishing in 50 water coming from the Ohio River.
Right.
When I first moved down here, I felt like if it was shallow 20 foot, I could see my leader.
Then you don't want to come to the bay, Kevin, because sometimes we'll drag in 2 to 5 feet of water.
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten used to fishing shallower for sure since I moved down here, but it was definitely weird at first.
You see 20 foot and you start trimming the motor up. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't. It seems like I can't mark the fish in shallow. I mean, I've done some shallow stuff, but I don't know. It's hard to fish shallow. But a lot of anglers have been going to shallow.
A lot of guys
I love shallow fishing.
We can't mark them with our Lowrance. A lot of guys say with hummingbirds, you can see them plain as day in 2 feet of water. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but it makes me want to buy one. I know that.
Right.
What do you guys have on your boat?
I got.
You have Lowrance?
Yeah.
We have Humminbird.
Can you mark them in that shallow water on side scan?
I just put the Solix in on, and down there was the first trip with it, so I haven't used it up here at home.
We are older than a lot of people in the industry, and thank God for my guy at Catfish Tech, because we are technically challenged. Let me tell you, to switch it has been wow. Like I don't know why we are so technically challenged, but we are, and that stinks. But our boy Vince has helped us through a lot of issues. So not issues with the birds, but just our own issues with being challenged.
Don't feel too bad. I'm 28 and I can't figure them out either. So
I did figure something out Saturday morning or Friday morning on our way to where we were fishing. I was looking and I was like, my waypoints didn't transfer.
that's tough.
I didn't notice all week because we were up on Gunnersville, and I didn't know I didn't have anything up there.
It took me a month and a half to figure out why I couldn't click on a waypoint on my Lowrance and see how far away from it I was.
Yeah.
You should be able to click it and it should say you're 386 feet away from this waypoint. I couldn't figure it out. It's because I was on 3D the whole time. I took it for 2 months.
I wouldn't even know this.
I found it out by accident when we were down there.
Well, that's a good accident to find out.
Yeah, I know now.
I loved back. I'm totally changing the subject here a little bit. When we had the chick fight tournament, we were allowed to have someone operate the boat that was a male. And thank God, because I don't love the fish finder. I need to work on that. As a female angler, changing subject again here, I feel like those of us that go out with our husbands, we need to know a lot more than what we probably know for safety, to get back to operate the birds. And if there were to be an incident, that we need to be able to get the boat back in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a lot of places where we fish that's super shallow. You wouldn't want to be out there without it. We have sandbars and all kinds of things up at the bay. I can't load that thing to save my life. I've got it on the trailer once. Once I had it on practically sideways. And I just feel like if I'm going to be out there, I'm going to need to work on this stuff.
There's a lot of times in our trail, at least, that if a husband and wife are fishing together, we almost always have to back the boat in for them, or another angler will do them a favor and do it for them. It seems like the wives never want to back the boats in the water.
Oh, I back.
But hold on, Nate. Some of them are good.
Some of them are great. Some of them are.
Yeah.
There are some men
Yeah.
back the boat in for them too.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you can't do something,
Absolutely.
speak up. Like I learned to back and drive the truck and pull the boat because I wanted to. He didn't make me. But I always dump him in the water, and I learned by doing it, not by watching. So I just feel like for safety reasons, I really need to learn that bird and how to get that boat up on that trailer.
Yeah, none of it's difficult. It's just a matter of actually physically doing it yourself.
Well, it's so funny because I'm going to throw out a name here. My dear friend, Carolyn Jones, she stays with the boat in the water and her husband does the truck. So her and I went out one day. The guys went on a boat and we went on our boat. Carolyn and I, my daughter was with us. And the things that Carolyn is fearful of, I'm not. And the things that I'm fearful of, vice versa. So I would love to see an all-female tournament with us ladies doing everything and including all of that stuff that I don't know how to do.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up because we are, what I wrote down in my notes, going to do a Jack and Jill again this year. We've Twisted Cats now had a Jack and Jill almost for 9 years running. But this year we're going to do it. Last year it was in the points race. This year it's not. It's actually, instead of the normal $300 entry fee per team, it's going to be $150 entry fee per team. It's going to be the first weekend of September. Oh, I should have that. It's going to be September 2nd. So September 2nd in Canton, Missouri on the Mississippi River. We've done it there for a long time. Like I said, this is not going to be a point race event, but it is going to be fun. It's 2 adults max. So like Craig and Tyra could be in the boat, and then you could have as many 18 and under as you want that your boat will allow. So a lot of families, we had 42 or 44 teams last year. Again, it'll be 106% at least payback. And it's a good event. It's a fun town. It's a cool event.
Well, that's
but we
awesome.
want to lower the entry fee a little bit to get more locals involved and really get people to come. And it's not about the big payout, which it's a great payout. It's like I said, 106%, but it's more about like all the husbands and wives or the father and a guy bringing his mom with him. It's very unique. Seth, you've been there a couple years now. What's your kind of thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. I've been wanting to take my wife out and do it, and hopefully this year we'll do it. Not the points race thing and all that, because I usually help with all the tournaments that you guys didn't know. But we might have to do that this year. It'll be fun. Tyra,
Gosh,
that's
it
what
sounds
put
like
on
every weekend in September I'm busy.
Oh,
So
you?
I hope
I
you're
know.
there. I'm going to include that on my schedule.
Yeah, that's
Because there's that weekend is in Canton, Missouri, and then the next weekend I know Rising Sun, and then Alton Catfish Classic. The weekend after that is MRM.
Yep.
And it just
That'd be
then
good.
their 23rd, and then the 30th is Twisted Cat in Tulsa, Oklahoma, way out west, and we're excited for that too. So definitely, if you guys get a chance to come over to Canton. That'd be a cool event.
If this high water stays all summer, Tyra, that'll be a good one for you guys to come out and practice bumping.
Oh, I need practice.
Yeah, before you get to Memphis. 'Cause Memphis is a whole different world, but you can get some reps in Canton for the weekend.
Yeah. Well, I would love to come out there and do that. So
that's a good one to go to. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, we're gonna have to add that to our schedule.
Where? Say what?
Kevin, I expect to see you and Michelle there, and Peyton.
Yeah.
And Cole, all of you.
Yeah, we could all go on that one. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's a unique event, and we're just going to continue to grow it as a Jack and Jill, where it used to be the same rules as the regular tournament, but it was like 3 guys would come, and then they would bring a daughter, and it wasn't. We want it to be more like that family deal. So like this last year was the first year we changed the rules to just 2 adults, and if you had 2 adults, they had to be a man and a woman. But a lot of it's different. You'll have a dad bring his kids, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Let's clarify it real quick. Is it 1 male in the boat, regardless of age, or can he bring his sons too, if they're under 18?
You got to have a girl there too. So
yeah, but
if you're a dad gonna bring your kids, you couldn't be a dad and bring your son. You have to bring your wife or whatever, or you could be a dad and have 5 kids, as long as one of them's a female.
Okay,
Makes sense.
But you could bring your kid if he was under 18.
Yes,
but you have to have a woman. Well,
there has to be a female. That female could be a 8-year-old girl.
Right. But
so you'll see a father, daughter, you'll see a lot of different things.
But some guys, like Doug and his dad, that's his son. As long as there's a female on the boat, there needs to be like a rule.
Yeah.
2 adults over 18.
But one of those has to be a female.
No. In the boat, you have to have a male and a female. Age don't matter. Does that make sense?
So 2 adult men can come now with a child that's a female. That's not how it was last year. That's what you're saying right now.
2 adults can come. If you have 2 adults, you got to have a male and a female.
Yeah.
Let's clarify. My bad. So if you have 2 adults, they have to be male and female. Or you can have a male adult and a female that's 18 and under, and then 4 boys underneath that too. Only 2 adults, and if you do have 2 adults, it's got to be male and female.
All right.
Seth is already building his team.
No, not at all. But we get a lot of really, really ridiculous questions, and it needs to be clear as that was clear as mud. We need something crystal clear, or we're gonna get a lot of questions.
Yeah.
This
I
is
think
crystal
I think
clear.
he cleared it up. I mean, can be pretty not smart, and I'm clear, I think.
Craig, tell her you disagree with her that she's so smart.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm for hire. My number is, and I'll bring these. Or are we bumping? Do we bump there?
Yeah,
You're bumping.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
they
suddenly
were dragging last year, but I don't think that's gonna happen this year.
Well, I hope we can make it.
Bring the dragon weights just in case, but I don't think you'll need them.
No, you could. There's a good
I'll bring
chance.
the
I mean,
second.
you could drag. Yeah.
I'll
If
bring
this
the
high
second.
water
South
stays
second.
around, you won't.
Yeah.
So what else? What else is up? You got anything else you want to chat about? I can't believe it's already been an hour and 40 minutes. It just flies by when we're talking.
I want to say thank you to you and the SeaArk team. That I cannot imagine the work that goes into that. That is such an awesome event. Days before you guys are getting things around. I mean, I didn't have dinner because I was too busy talking. But from the dinner to the sweatshirts to the hats to the t-shirts to the key ring to everything that was in that bag to people checking us in, the weigh-in, the people shooting the fish down the chute. You guys do a hell of a job, and us anglers really appreciate you guys giving back to the community. It means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it was a fun event, and just like the key thing. So Yeti sent us the 3 cooler deals, and I had those keys in my pocket, and then I gave them to Jeremy, and he put them in each one, and I'm like, oh, I personally knew. I mean, I knew all 3. I didn't really know the third angler that got pulled up, but the middle angler he lives like a half hour from my house, Nate Blint. And I was like, oh my, it's the first time I've really known somebody really close that, had a chance to win it. But then Paul Petrowski, which I know Paul pretty well.
Yeah.
Paul, that lucky dog. So that's a pretty cool deal to win a boat. I wanted to win one for 9 years and never got to, but
I reached out to Paul and congratulated him, and boy, are they stoked. And
rumor has it that boat's for sale if anybody wants it.
Really?
That's what I was told.
Oh, Paul, what the heck?
What's he have? Doesn't he have a new 240?
I believe it was a 240. Yeah.
But we talked about that, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I know what I would do. I would buy a pro guide, but that's okay. That's great.
Traded in on a pro guide.
I wanted to talk about something super classy here for just a second. That picture that you sent me earlier, Alex, and said, is this okay? Wade Kaminsky's in the background clapping as we're pulling our fish out of the live well. He's in the hot seat and he's clapping. I'm like, what a classy dude.
You know what else is cool is Wade was, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 years ago, what the first tournament I put on, Wade Kaminsky fished by himself. He was the first. He weighed in early because he was fishing out of like a bass boat. So he brought his fish up at Columbia Bottoms in St. Louis, and he was the first fish I ever weighed. And he is a good angler.
It was the first fish that he had ever weighed in a tournament too.
It might have been the first fish he ever weighed too, but it was cool to like see that very first event that I put on and weighed there, and then now him in the hot seat. He's just a great guy, great angler.
Yeah.
And it's been great watching, him over the years. Fishing against him is something you got to watch out for. So
yeah, I reached out to him and congratulated him. And he said, "Man, when you guys were pulling those fish out of the live well, I was scared. It's my first time in the hot seat."
I thought it was funny when Nate came through. He was the last one. I was watching both Wade and Jake up there on the stage, and they pulled those 2 flatheads out, and they fist bumped. You could tell all the weight was lifted off their shoulders. Like, man, what a feeling that would be. I saw their lips there. We got this one now, or something like that.
Well, that's cool. Such great people out there in this industry, and we have enjoyed our last 5 or 6 years that we've been involved in things. Met some of our best friends. We have people all over the country that we look forward to seeing, at different tournaments every year. And of course, the SeaArk is our very favorite, and we looking forward to next year.
I'm hoping in about 5 or 6 years we're having this conversation, and Alex was like, "Man, I remember back then when you used to suck, and man, you're winning all these tournaments now." That's what I'm waiting for.
I can't wait till next year. He's like, "Do you remember when you guys were 3rd place, and this year you're 1st place?"
All right.
Yeah. You just got to keep on going on.
Yeah. Well, I told Kevin now he's stuck with us every year. So Justin's out. He will not be invited. It will be Kevin, Craig, and Tyra.
Hey, just remember, I went from 3rd place to like 193.
Yeah, that could
You
happen.
didn't even weigh in last year. You just checked your fish, didn't you?
I checked the fish, but it would have put us in like almost. I don't even know it was classified as a fish. It was a channel cat, and I'm not. It was horrible.
I didn't.
That's a terrible. I'm telling you, in the SeaArk tournament, that's a terrible feeling when it's like 1:30 in the afternoon and you haven't caught a fish yet. Me and Seth McAllister, we're really close, and everything's changing. Now we're scrambling. We're like, we gotta go to shallow. We're using like guts, and we're freaking out. But now we just need a fish. We gotta need a cat. So that was rough.
You're calling your buddy like, "Hey, do you have anything you're gonna call?" Like, "We need one."
Yeah, we have to get one. And we ended up catching a channel cat. I'm like, and when I'm talking about shallow, we were like dragging the sandbar into the water and got a channel cat.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, I'll never forget. We didn't catch a fish last year during the tournament. I had great pre-fishing all week. Caught my personal best, and then tournament day, we didn't get a bite. And I remember calling Alex like 3 or 4 times throughout the day, and he kept saying, "Oh, we don't have anything. We don't have anything." I'm like, this sucker's lying to me. Like, there ain't no way he's telling the truth. He's good. And I kept telling my partner, I was like, "No, there ain't no way." Then I called him at like 2 o'clock, and he's like, "No, we still don't have anything." Like, whatever. So I waited for him in the weigh-in, and he never came. I was like, man, he must not have been kidding.
Yeah, you thought I was sandbagging, and I wasn't.
I was 100%. I would have bet my year's salary that you were sandbagging.
No, I wish I was, but not that year.
Oh shit!
But that happens. Well, one last question I have for Kevin. So you use Lowrance, which I've used Lowrance for a lot of years. What did you think about the Humminbird on their boat?
I tell you, the mapping is awesome. The map on it, I was really impressed with that. Sure. My map don't look anything like that. So
what did they have? They had like the Lake Master?
Yeah.
Is that what you have?
Yes.
Whatever it was, it'd show you like 10 below 10 foot was red, and then 10 to 20 foot was green, and then over 20 foot was blue. I think it was like color coded by like how deep it was. And I was like, man, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What about the like side scan and stuff like that? Did you really notice a big difference? Were you like, oh, I got to get me a Humminbird, or you're like, I'm just gonna stick with my Lowrance?
Right. I'm cheap too, so I'm stick with it. But the side imaging is really good on the Humminbird too, for sure.
Because I got to figure out what to get on my new boat if I'm gonna go. I've been thinking about Garmin, then Humminbird, then I still miss my Lowrance, like, because it's so trusted and I love everything about it. But everybody kind of been talking about Garmin, and then the side imaging on Humminbird, and it's tough.
I like my 2D on my Lowrance though. I just know how to find fish on that. I know what a fish looks like on my graph. Sometimes I get to looking at Garmin's and Humminbirds, and I'm like, what's a fish look like on this thing?
Hey, Alex,
Well,
when you're
funny.
ready, reach out to my boy at Catfish Tech. He is so knowledgeable on all of that stuff.
Yeah, I will. Speaking of that, I took Steve Henderson's boat for a little ride on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure that his Hummingbird's in demo mode still. So I've been giving him some crap about that.
Well, I'm surprised ours isn't, but yeah.
A friend of mine wants to take me out to show me how much better his Hummingbird is than my Lorraine, so I'm not sure that I want to see it because then I'll want to buy one probably. But
Right.
I don't know how my mapping could get any better, so that you got me intrigued now. I love my Navionics.
Yeah, and I do too. So I'm kind of excited about that. Which Charlie had just texted me. It's funny. Anytime, and I always say the same thing, no matter who it is. It's they'll call and they say, "Hey, I'm having issues with my sonar. Like it's not turning on. It's doing this." Seth's actually, I did it to him once. I said, "Go ahead and reach around and unplug all the connections from it, and then unscrew it, from the holder, and just throw it over the side of the boat." But no, yeah, I don't know. I got to try it and see some of the Hummingbird maps. And, like I said, there's a lot of great units out there. You just got to really be, as long as you're confident. And I think maybe I should stick with Lowrance because I'm confident. I know how to read them. It's done me well over the last few years. But like I said, there's a lot of new products out there.
What I look at every time somebody comes through the weigh-in line for Twisted Cat, I mean, some of the best guys out there are using like a Gen 1 7-inch Lowrance, and they're still fine. I'm like, maybe I don't need all this crap. I don't know. Right? It definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch TV on some of them. Some of the guys now that are fishing have like 19-inch on both sides.
Yeah.
Someone tried to get a 19-inch one, and it wouldn't fit. So
well, they can make them fit because you asked Nate Moore, and they've got a 19. I mean, I guess he got one for the driver, and then the passenger must need one too.
It would have fit. We just wouldn't have been able to see anything. So
yeah, they can't barely see anything, but that's yeah.
I like to see where I'm going. So
yeah, they got to stand when they drive.
Every time I see one of the 18-inch Apex, I think, man, if I had that on my boat, I'd just be watching movies.
I know, right? Because I think you can hook it up to like Netflix or something.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He's got two 19s. Even if he was watching the ball game or something while he's fishing, he's still got plenty of screen left over.
Right.
All right. Well, hey, thank you. Thank all three of you for coming on tonight and talking about the owners tournament. And like I said, the future, our next event's actually on the Ohio River in Jeffersonville, Indiana, May 13th. That's going to be stop number 4. We had Alton, Truman, Fort Madison, and then Jeffersonville. So, and then tonight we just introduced, we're going to have one. It won't be a points race tournament, but it'll be a Jack and Jill out of Canton, Missouri. Really excited about that. If you have any questions, send us a message on the Facebook page. And if you're watching this video after Monday night between 7 and 9 Central, and you have any questions at all, ask them in the comment section. We'll all be watching, I'm sure. Kevin, Tyra, Craig, or Seth and I, and we can get those answered, whether it's about screens or hooks or, what they did, what they used, all that fun stuff. Like I said, this is just we're just trying to bring value to, a lot of the new anglers getting involved in the sport. And grow the sport. So, again, thank you all for being on from Iowa this way, Alabama, and Ohio. It's been fun, and I'm sure we'll see you guys all soon, and you, Tyra, too. Like I always say, guys and gals, but
it's good.
And I love the hat, Tyra. You gotta rep that hat.
Thank you. Oh, where is it? I'm
bad. Also got, I don't know if you've seen, there's some new merch at Twisted Cat. I haven't got on the website yet. New sweatshirt just came in. I'll have it up on the website here pretty soon.
SeaArk got some new stuff too. Check that out. They got
a bunch of new stuff too. So yeah, I got a lot of new swag. Catfish has got the new swag. So like I said, over the last 9-10 years I've been in the sport, from apparel to boats to rods and all the fishing gear and stuff to the products you make. it's really growing. So it's kind of exciting to see all the fun stuff come together, and you kind of get to see it all at the SeaArk tournament because that's the like big event of the year that everybody looks forward to. So
we got to look good when we're catching big fish. So
yes.
You
Well, Kevin, thank you also, man.
You say your next tournament's Jeffersonville?
Next tournament's Jeffersonville, Indiana. Yep, May 13th.
I think Tom Petrowski's coming for revenge because Ricky and Rob got it last time.
Yeah, that was a funny year because Rob actually caught his PB that tournament, which was like 86 or something. Then went to the championship and caught 1 over 90 to replace his PB. So he got 2 of his PBs in Twisted Cat tournaments and won 3 Twisted Cat tournaments.
Man, he's good. He's
that guy.
Yeah, Rob is he's a different level.
He is. Sure. Tom is one of the most competitive people I ever met, and he's coming for revenge this year.
Are you going, Kevin?
No, I'm not going to be able to make it. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Rob's one of those guys. You see him at the ramp, and I just go home. I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, thank you. Thanks again for being on. Have a great night, and we'll see you all real soon. And have a great rest of your week.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you guys.
All right. See you.
Bye, guys.